She had every reason to believe the future was hers. A full scholarship, a dream of working at NASA, a reputation as one of the brightest students her school had ever seen. But beneath that perfect surface, Sharon Marshall was hiding a secret, and the truth of who she really was wouldn't come out for over 2 decades. As a teenager, Sharon Marshall appeared to have the whole world open to her. She was reportedly a lieutenant colonel in the ROTC, one of the best and brightest students in her class, an undeniably intelligent young woman with a kind heart to match. Upon graduating from high school in 1986 in Forest Park, Georgia, Sharon had earned a full-ride scholarship to the Georgia Institute of Technology, with plans to study aerospace engineering and one day work at NASA. Despite this incredible opportunity, Sharon never went to college. She was harboring a secret. During the final months of high school, Sharon had become pregnant, and she never told the baby's father. She hid the pregnancy well, gave birth quietly, and allowed a wealthy couple from Texas to adopt the baby boy. The pregnancy had shaken her life plans, and at one point she even tried, unsuccessfully, to run away with her boyfriend. After losing her chance at college, Sharon moved to Tampa, Florida, for a fresh start, with a man named Delano Floyd. Though she started dating another man and became pregnant for a second time, she again never told the father. This time, she chose to keep the child. Sharon gave birth to a son named Michael Gregory Marshall in 1988, and she raised him alongside Frank. Frank and Sharon's relationship was complicated. It wasn't entirely clear if it was romantic, but they lived together and both provided for Michael. Frank worked as a painter, but a bad back kept him from steady work. So Sharon became an exotic dancer to support the family. They also relied on welfare checks to survive. At the club, Sharon became especially close with an 18-year-old coworker named Cheryl Commesso. But while Sharon and Cheryl were close, Cheryl and Frank frequently clashed, and there were even rumors the two had been briefly involved. On a weekend in 1989, all three went on a boating trip together. A fight broke out between Cheryl and Frank. After the argument, Cheryl allegedly reported Sharon to social services for hiding income. Sharon lost her welfare benefits. Enraged, Frank showed up at the club and punched Cheryl in the face in front of witnesses. Shortly after, Cheryl left her father's house to visit a friend, but she never called to say she arrived safely. Her abandoned Corvette was found at the airport. She was reported missing. Frank and Sharon were persons of interest, but no evidence was found, and the two quietly disappeared. Frank and Sharon packed up and left Tampa fast, using different names as they traveled. They eventually married in 1989, Frank claiming it was to give Michael his family name. They ended up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where Sharon was again working as an exotic dancer. She made friends easily everywhere they went. Frank did not. He was aggressive, unpleasant, and threatening. When a dancer told Sharon to leave him, Frank responded, "If she ever left me, I'd kill her." Sharon was reportedly making plans to leave Frank for a man she'd met at work, but she never got the chance. She was found unconscious on the side of a highway, the apparent victim of a hit-and-run. Frank claimed he was asleep at the time. Sharon was rushed to the hospital, and her co-workers visited her as she seemed to be recovering. Then, without explanation, Frank banned all visitors. 5 days later, Sharon was dead. The doctor was suspicious. Old bruises on Sharon's body led him to classify her death as a homicide. He noted that the head injury that killed her may not have been caused by a vehicle at all. No one could prove Frank's involvement, but the suspicion was overwhelming, especially after her co-workers, not Frank, paid for her headstone. When Frank tried to collect an $80,000 life insurance policy he had taken out on Sharon just months before her death, his fake social security numbers raised flags. When he finally gave his real name, Delano Floyd, everything unraveled. At 19 in 1962, Frank had been convicted of abducting and assaulting a 4-year-old girl and sentenced to 10 to 20 years. He escaped a mental hospital by stealing a car. The very next day, he robbed a bank. Released in 1972, he almost immediately attempted to abduct a woman, then skipped bail and vanished for years. After serving 4 years for unrelated charges, Frank was released in September 1994. He immediately began stalking Michael and his foster family. Knowing he'd never get custody, Frank devised a plan. On September 12, 1994, he walked into Michael's elementary school, threatened the principal at gunpoint, and forced him to hand over the boy. Then drove the principal to a remote area, tied him to a tree, and fled with Michael in the man's truck. 2 months of desperate searching led authorities to Louisville, Kentucky, where Frank was arrested. But Michael was nowhere to be found. Frank refused to say a word. "It's none of your business where he is," he told investigators. "Nor do I care how much any of you in Oklahoma miss him or love him." During Frank's kidnapping trial, skeletal remains were found covered in vines in Pinellas County, Florida. The victim had been beaten and shot twice in the head. Meanwhile, a mechanic in Kansas bought a truck at auction and found a sealed envelope inside, containing 97 photographs of a woman who had been beaten and bound. The truck had previously been stolen by Frank Floyd. Investigators compared the photos to the skeletal remains. A wound on the photographed woman's cheekbone matched one on the recovered skull. The remains were identified as Cheryl Commesso. Frank was convicted of her murder and sentenced to death. But the photographs revealed something even more shocking. Among the images were older photos of a young girl being assaulted. Investigators began searching for her identity. It wasn't until 2014 that the truth was finally confirmed. Sharon Marshall's real name was Suzanne Marie Sevarkis. Suzanne was the biological daughter of a woman named Sandy Chipman. In the mid-1970s, Sandy had unknowingly married Frank, who was using the alias Brandon Williams. When Sandy went to jail for 30 days, she came home to an empty house. Frank had taken her 4 children and vanished. 2 daughters, Allison and Amy, were eventually found in social services. Her son, Philip, came forward as an adult. But her eldest daughter, Suzanne, the girl Frank had raised as his own daughter, married, and possibly murdered, had been missing for decades. Frank Floyd had kidnapped Suzanne as a child from her own mother. He raised her across multiple states under different names. He called her Tanya Hughes, then Sharon Marshall. He frequently assaulted her. He married her as an adult. He may have killed her. Then he kidnapped her child. And in 2014, after almost 20 years, Frank finally admitted what most had suspected. He had shot Michael while on the run and hidden his body along Interstate 35. An intensive search found nothing. It is believed Michael's remains may have been consumed by wild hogs. Frank Floyd was never convicted of Sharon's murder. To this day, he refuses to speak about her death. He sits on death row, awaiting execution for Cheryl Comesso's murder. Sharon Marshall, Suzanne Sevarkis, never got to go to NASA. She never got the life that was stolen from her before she even had a chance to choose it. Her co-workers, who barely knew her real name, cared enough to pay for her headstone. And that, perhaps, is the saddest truth of all. Thank you for watching. If you like more of this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and also subscribe to Prodolo Studio.